and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, picture this. It's a Tuesday morning, you know, the usual sounds, maybe some eggs cooking, someone complaining the bathroom's been occupied for ages. But underneath that, well, there's this hum of serious business calls. Maybe the quiet sting of a bruised ego. It seems ordinary, but actually...
It's anything but. Yeah, you've got these hidden power struggles, really complex family stuff going on, some pretty raw personal moments.
That's exactly where we're heading today.
Right. So this deep dive, we're going to unpack just one day, a really eventful day in this well-known fictional community.
And we'll explore how personal lives, family duties, and those high-stakes business deals all get tangled up.
Yeah, it gives you a really interesting window into, you know, human behavior, social structures, all of that.
And the material we're drawing on today, it's straight from BBC Radio 4.
That's right. Specifically, it was Tuesday's episode of The Archers, aired July 8th, 2025. And you might recognize the branding, that sort of rural scene, the wellies.
Definitely captures the vibe.
So our mission here, really, is to pull out the key bits of insight from all these conversations.
Find those surprising connections, the facts that make you feel like, okay, I really get what's going on here.
Exactly. Without getting bogged down in, you know, too much detail, we want the important nuggets.
Okay then, with that set up, let's dive in. First flashpoint, the unexpected guest, Amber.
Right. Amber, George's fiancée. She just shows up, unannounced, at Ed and Emma's place.
And immediately, you can feel the ripples, can't you? Sparks flying.
Oh yeah, that friction with Emma, it starts almost straight away. It really sets the scene for how disruptive one unexpected person can be.
What were the complaints again? Eggs?
Yeah, making a mess with eggs, apparently. Hogging the bathroom for him, Emma says, practically an hour. And Emma's genuinely worried they'll end up living like pigs if Amber's parents turn up too.
Wow. And Amber herself, she doesn't exactly make a great first impression, does she? We hear her parents just watched her leave.
Watched her walk out and didn't stop her, yeah. Says a lot, maybe, about what she's left behind.
And she's got these habits. The 168 fast.
Right, the 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window, which she then immediately kind of contradicts by craving carbs because she skipped dinner.
Doesn't quite track.
Not really, and initially she just leaves her plate and mug on the sofa arm like someone else will deal with it.
Even though later she talks about liking things tidy and giving storage tips.
Exactly. Despite admitting she used to have a cleaner who came once a day. It's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it?
You wonder if she sees the mess or if it's all just performance.
Could be. And speaking of appearances, Ed makes that comment, doesn't he? About how Amber looks different first thing in the morning.
Right, without makeup. He says she looks young and pretty.
And Emma agrees. Which leads her to wonder why Amber wears so much makeup. She even worries about Kira, their daughter.
Seeing Amber as a role model, copying the makeup.
Yeah, like maybe the facade isn't quite holding up close.
Interesting, a fresh face challenging assumptions. But then, just as they're maybe seeing a different side, Amber switches gears entirely.
Totally. Suddenly declares she needs more space.
And wants to move where?
To Grange Farm. To stay with Clary, specifically in George's old room. And she gets Oliver's name wrong at first, calls him Oscar.
Clary agrees to this.
Yeah.
That's generous. Or is there more to it?
Oh, there's definitely more to it. Clary's nobody's fool. She agrees, yes, but her reason is crystal clear.
She wants to figure her out.
Exactly. She says she wants to know exactly who she is under all the show if George is actually serious about marrying her. It's very strategic.
So is that just Clary being Clary? Or is it maybe a wider point about dealing with new family members? You know, setting boundaries early.
I think it's absolutely a broader lesson. Clary doesn't waste a second.
Even with Amber calling her Grandma Clary and the best grandma-in-law to be ever.
Doesn't matter. Clary immediately lays down house rules, says they will need to be followed.
And there's a condition, isn't there? A big one.
A crucial one, non-negotiable. For Amber to stay, she must apologize to Neil.
George's other granddad.
Right. For whatever she said last week in the kitchen, Clary makes it a take it or leave it situation, right from the start.
So pulling back, what's the takeaway from this whole Amber situation? It seems like Clary's approach, you know, being explicit, setting rules right away.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Right. It might actually be the quickest way to see what someone's really about and, well, keep the peace in the house.
Absolutely. It's that fine line, isn't it? When does being kind become enabling or complicity even? Sometimes you just have to lay down the rules for everyone's sake.
Okay, so from that domestic drama, let's shift focus. The pressure moves from the kitchen to the boardroom, the Borchester Land battle.
Yes, big stuff happening there. The main issue is Justin's new proposal.
The key thing is its reliance on environmental grants.
Exactly. Grants and subsidies for future environmental schemes. That's the core of it. And it's not going down well.
Who's pushing back?
Oh, you've got some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Brian, Glenda, Jerry, Andrew. Apparently they're frothing at the mouth.
Strong words. They see it as risky.
Yeah. Inviting risk, deviating from the plan to stick with arable farming. They're really digging their heels in.
And Annabelle. She's taken a pretty hard line, isn't she?
Extremely aggressive strategy. She's threatening mass resignation.
No. Against Justin. Even though he has majority shares.
That's the point. It's her leverage because he has majority shares. She tells Martin, who's the chair, to deliver this threat and also to figure out who else might lead the opposition with her.
That really shows you the power dynamics, doesn't it? When you can't win by votes.
You have to find another way. Annabelle knows a threadbare boardroom, missing key people, is maybe the only thing that could make Justin reconsider. It's pure corporate maneuvering.
Are they looking at specific people, trying to gauge who might be swayed?
Well, they mention Ira, thinking he might be receptive to Justin's ideas.
Or distracted. Wasn't there something about his daughter's wedding?
Yeah, possibly distracted by that. So Martin plans to talk to him, try and sound him out at the club, see if they can get anything from him.
And Annabelle has her own skin in the game here too, right? Something about a brewery.
Absolutely. She points out she's got more shares now in Shire's brewery. So for her, barley production is vital.
So Justin's environmental schemes could directly hit her bottom line.
Potentially. She argues it could be shooting ourselves in the foot, especially if it impacts arable farming more widely. And she basically says, if Justin wants a legacy project, fine, but do it somewhere else, not with Borchester Land.
So her personal business interests are clearly driving her strategy in the boardroom.
Definitely. It's a classic case.
So what's the lesson here from the Borchester battle? It seems like when you're up against a majority shareholder, sometimes the only move left is disruption, threatening to blow things up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Collective threat, destabilization that becomes your leverage. And what's really striking is how tangled it all is. Boardroom decisions, environmental policy, personal investments like Annabelle's brewery shares. It's never just about one thing, is it?
Yeah.
Never simple. Okay, so from the boardroom tensions, let's pivot to something more personal, though still tangled up with all this. Martin's situation.
Ah, yes. Poor Martin. He's clearly been trying to pursue something with Annabelle beyond just the business crisis.
Trying to set up dinner, asking about why she bailed on a previous plan. She said she was tired. Phone died.
Yeah, those are the excuses, but Annabelle just shuts him down. Coldly.
Brutally. Almost. What does she say exactly?
She just states it flat out. There is no it.
Yeah?
Yeah. And she basically dismisses everything as just a bit of fun while we deal with this ridiculous plan of Justin's.
Minimizing his efforts, too. Something about his clothes.
Right. He mentions buying a new wardrobe, trying to impress her maybe, and she just waves it away as a floral shirt or two and a pair of jeans. Really dismissive.
That's gotta hurt. And then, to make matters worse, someone overhears.
Jazza, he catches part of the conversation, which leads to, well, an incredibly awkward situation later.
Because Jazza tries to help, but gets the wrong end of the stick entirely.
Completely. He thinks Martin's carrying a torch for Lillian, Justin's partner.
No, what do you see?
Seriously, Jazza's trying to be supportive, talking about Martin's unrequited love, but he's aimed it at totally the wrong person.
And doesn't he say something really specific and embarrassing about Lillian?
Oh, yeah. He mentions her being all loved up, talking about positions and hiding your core and pelvic tilts.
Oh my God, you can just imagine Martin wanting the ground to swallow him up.
Absolutely. Utter humiliation. But, interestingly, in that moment, after he corrects, Jazza clarifies he has zero feelings for Lillian. Lillian Martin seems to have a bit of an epiphany.
An aha moment. Even then.
Yeah. He says something like, clearly not all flirting is actual flirting. Annabelle said the same. It's just flirting.
So even in it's the pain, he gets this flash of understanding. about misinterpreting signals.
Exactly. It seems like a genuine moment of self-awareness for him, a painful lesson learned about boundaries and, well, wishful thinking maybe?
So what can we take away from Martin's painful experience? It really highlights how easily we can misread social cues, doesn't it?
Definitely. And the difference between friendly banter, maybe strategic fun, like Annabelle called it, and actual romantic interest.
And sometimes, even though it's mortifying, getting that clarity, like Martin did, is crucial. It stops you from, living in a fantasy. It forces you to see the reality of the interaction.
Even if the reality stings, it's about understanding intent, isn't it?
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive today, we've really covered a lot of ground within just one day in this community.
Yeah, from tricky family dynamics and setting boundaries with new people,
To those intense corporate power plays in the boardroom.
and then down to really raw, personal, emotional reckonings, like Martin's.
It really shows how interconnected everything is. Grand plans get shaped by tiny personal moments.
A comment, a shared meal, a look that's maybe misunderstood. It all feeds into the bigger picture.
So here's something to think about as you go about your day. How often do our own private assumptions about what someone means, who they are, how they feel, clash with what's actually going on?
Yeah, that collision between our internal story and external reality. What happens in that moment? What choices do we make next?
A lot to chew on there.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Just any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's,
This one.
yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever